What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Pixel Perspective Podcast. My name is JJ, and I'm here with my co-host and friend, Adrian.
Hi.
That's
threw me off, man. You threw me off.
I used to do that. Well, you used to listen to the Frozen North, so you know I used to try and get Mark every single time.
Yeah,
with how I would intro
it
and do it every single time. It was just great.
I'm a creature of habit, so whenever something gets thrown off a little bit, I don't know how to react.
I'll be honest, like I'm all for setting something up to where we have it like the same every single time. I just forget how I did it the time before. So yeah, that's about it. As you can see, I've been inside for a while.
Looking shaggy there.
So yeah.
Rocking the beard. I like it. I shaved my beard and you grew your beard.
Man, I don't know. I go back and forth on it. I know this is great for the audio listeners. Just picture me with a beard, and well, if you've ever never seen me, then it doesn't matter anyways. Picture a dude with a beard wearing a Retropalooza t-shirt. There you go.
Yeah, exactly.
So initially we were going to do an episode entirely devoted to the game Earthbound on Super Nintendo. Unfortunately, real life happened, and we ran into some scheduling stuff. And then Cameron, the friend of mine who's gonna be joining us, ended up getting sick. And thank God it's not like the big one that's going around. But still, like, you know, if I don't want him, like, you know, having to puke and hack and all that stuff while he's on there, and just, man, stay home, get better. We're just gonna postpone it and do that next month, and we'll get him on and talk about it then. So. Still absolutely going to do it, but we figured, you know, if we've got him out, we'll still get an episode out, and it'll just be, you know, you and I as normal. And we figured we were coming up with some ideas, and then you brought to my attention something I didn't even know, which is that since this whole quarantine thing, apparently retro prices have gone through the roof, like out of nowhere.
Yeah.
It's kind of crazy, but I'm getting a little ahead of myself. Before we get into that, what have you been playing, sir?
Oh, man. Well, I haven't been playing a whole lot since after completing Final Fantasy VII. I've kind of taken a break from gaming. I do that from time to time. If I game real heavily, I'll take a few weeks off and try to get some other things done around the house. It just creates equal balance for me. But I did get back into some more games here this week, and I went back to Jedi Fallen Order. That game is going to take me like all year to beat. Yeah, it's man, every time I start playing it, something else comes out, and then I stop and go play that. And I'm back into it again. I believe I'm on the last chapter. I'm getting towards the end. I don't know how close I am. Right. But man, that game continuously amazes me every time I get back into it. And there are things that I love about it, and there are things that I hate about it. So the things that I love is, the Dark Souls style combat is really fun. Also, the worlds that they create, especially Kashyyyk. Are you familiar with Star Wars?
Yeah, Kashyyyk is the Wookiee planet.
Yeah, Kashyyyk is an incredible planet to play on. It's my favorite planet in the game thus far. There's just a lot of really cool creatures, and you're in a forest, and it's a really cool change of scenery. As you progress, you unlock new skills and abilities that make the gameplay even more fun. And it's really kind of weird how you unlock them. It's just like he remembers his training from when he was a child. And then all of a sudden, oh yeah, I need this skill. And then you relearn it again. It just pulls it out of his mind. I'm not really sure what the context is behind doing it that way, but it just makes it for an easier way of skilling up your character, I guess. But you get some really cool moves and stuff through your skill tree. You get new kind of weapons and abilities through remembering things, like double jump and things like that. And it makes it to where you can go back to past planets and explore again. And the storyline sends you to planets that you've already visited, because the skills that you have now will allow you to access areas you weren't allowed to access before.
Right.
So while you're playing, it's kind of confusing as to, because it is kind of a massive world. Each planet that you explore has a lot going on and a lot of different branching paths. So it's a little bit jarring. I'm like, well, how do I get over there? You know, I don't understand. And I'll spend too much time trying to figure out how to get to a certain location, and then finally give up, and then come back to it later to figure out that I just needed a certain skill to get there, because they don't really show that or convey that to you while you're playing. So it's just kind of a live and learn type of situation. But it is really neat to go back and revisit it. It's very reminiscent of like Castlevania Symphony of the Night.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I mean, but in a 3D world.
Right.
So the other thing is the huge creatures and set pieces that they throw you into to break up kind of the regular action. There's a lot of platforming, there's a lot of wall running, and there's a lot of you get to ride in different things, you know, big creatures or big mechanical robots or whatever. It does a really good job of changing things up. Then you get to fight against other kind of dark side Jedi, you know, and as boss fights. And man, I fought one last night that really, really reminded me of Dark Souls or Sekiro type of fight. Yeah. It took me quite a few tries to beat it, just because she was just relentless. Like, it was hard to dodge, it was hard to parry, and it was relentless. The game isn't very forgiving when it comes to controls. So it seems like it's a buggy game. Like, it's a super buggy game. It's not as fluid as a Dark Souls game. Dark Souls, it's one of the few games that you can play and, you know, you might counter a few bugs here and there, but for the most part, the experience is pretty damn like flawless, you know, like ironed out. This game is not. It's man, I don't know how many times I've clipped through things or gotten stuck in an environmental area.
Oh, that sucks.
You know, just weird like little glitches like that. And then on top of that, when you die, and you do die often in this game because it's a hard game, the load screen between right after you died and then when you respawn takes entirely too long. I mean, it's like, I don't know how, I never timed it, but it's enough time for me to be like, okay, pick up my phone and start looking up how to tips to beating this boss. You know,
yeah.
It's entirely too long. So it's just one of those games that I feel like if they had given it a little bit more time for ironing out the kinks and everything, it would have been a really polished, really good game. But as it stands, even without the polish, it's still a lot of fun, and I highly recommend it to anybody who hasn't played it yet.
Yeah,
it's great. I obviously, if I keep coming back to it, you know, I stop in between, but I still keep coming back to it. It's a lot of fun. Cool. I've got some other games, but actually, I just picked up Xenoblade Chronicles Definitive Edition yesterday. I got the what is it? The collector's edition or whatever. It comes with the art book.
The big red.
The art book is the art book is so cool. It's huge. I've got the art book for Xenoblade Chronicles 2, so I had to get the art book for this one too. I love looking at that stuff. So it's just if a game I'm excited for throws in an art book and wants a premium cost for it, I'm a sucker enough to buy it. So that's what I did. So far, I just started it briefly yesterday. I played the original probably, I don't know, half a dozen hours into it before I stopped.
Oh, God. You have so long to go.
Oh, I know. I've heard it's a long game. But this game, it cleaned it up, so the visuals so much. It almost feels like playing a new game to me. One of the biggest hangups I had with the old game besides all the mechanics that I couldn't get really understood.
Yeah.
The graphics I thought were just really muddy and hard to look at. So it was kind of hard for me to get into. I was used to Xbox 360, PS3 games, and then going into a Wii game and trying to play this muddy looking game where you couldn't even really see things in the field that you were looking for.
It was like you were looking at soggy cardboard or something.
Yeah, I mean, it's a good description. It kind of was, man. It was just like there would be an item or something in the background that I needed to run towards, but you wouldn't see it because it's hidden within the muddiness of the background. That is a non-issue in this game. It looks beautiful. It really does. They've done an outstanding job of cleaning this game up. It reminds me quite a bit of Xenoblade Chronicles 2 visually, especially with the character redesigns that they've done.
Yeah.
I know some people are going to be kind of purists to the original designs, and they don't really look exactly like Shulk looks completely different to me, and a lot of the other characters do as well. They've taken on more of that Xenoblade Chronicles 2 anime aesthetic, which I'm okay with. I don't have a problem with it, and I think because I didn't play the original, maybe I don't have a huge tie to it, but so far so good on the game. I'm really enjoying it. I'm probably gonna stick this one through. I stopped playing Trials of Mana. I got a little bit kind of bored with it, I guess. I don't know. Things weren't progressing the way I'd liked. And the battle mechanics were so similar to Final Fantasy VII that I think I just kind of needed a break from that style of gameplay. And Xenoblade Chronicles is probably going to be the RPG that I finish off next on my list.
I'll be honest, I was not a fan of that one.
Oh, really?
The original Xenoblade Chronicles. It's probably the only game in the Xeno series that I'm not crazy about. It like Dark Souls, not really my thing. I was not a fan of the battle system. I hated just how it worked and how long it seemed to. Every single battle took so long. And I'm somebody who likes to run through and fight every single battle because I like getting experience and leveling up and all that stuff. Not to mention, and I hope to God that they have fixed this, when you get extra party members and you've got like a full team and you have to switch people out, you had to go piece by piece, and I think there were gems or something in there too that you had to take out and switch over to the other person's armor as well whenever you switch party members. And sometimes you had to do that like, several times over the course of a half hour, and it was just so tedious and so annoying. And that was the whole game just felt tedious to me. The story was so cool. I know you said the graphics look muddy, and they were rough. They're especially rough now. If you went back and played the old versions, that's cool that they cleaned that up. But honestly, I thought for the time, the game looked beautiful, and I really, really liked exploring, but also tedious. It took forever to get from point A to point B. There was no faster modes of travel other than just running. I think there was fast travel like way late in the game, but for most of the game, you're just running all over the place. And it's with how big the world is, it was just a nightmare to get through for me. And that's, probably sacrilege to say as a JRPG fan, but I probably won't be picking up the new one. I just have no interest in playing that game again.
It's definitely a polarizing game as far as battle mechanics go. I can't speak on the tedium of it that you're talking about. But I could definitely see something like that. I hope they do make quality of life changes to it to address those. So far, so good, though. I'll play it until the tedium kind of wears on me, if it does. But I loved Xenoblade Chronicles 2. It's one of my favorite games on the Switch. And so I had to jump into this one, especially since I never played the other one. So, and honestly, had I played the older game, I don't think I'd be picking up this one. I don't typically go back and replay older RPGs, especially if they don't really strike a chord with me, I guess.
Did you beat Xenoblade 2?
Yeah.
You did? Okay.
Yeah. I need to go play
for both games. There is a connection between the two.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. It's subtle. It's very subtle. I think a lot of people that beat it didn't even catch it. But it's if you see it and you notice it, it's kind of. I thought it was pretty cool the way that they did it.
Right.
So yeah.
Well, I'm curious to find that out. I mean, I wasn't a huge fan of the battle mechanics on Xenoblade Chronicles 2 because they were long and drawn out, like you were explaining.
See, and I thought they were like way faster than 1. So,
that sucks.
yeah.
And even then, they were still pretty long. Like some of the just regular battles just took too long. And but the storyline and characters really hooked me, man. And I could not put it down. And so far, this game is doing the same. It's really, the voice acting is so good in this game. I really, really like it. Like the characters, they don't have the stereotypical kind of anime voices that are just over the top and annoying, so I mean, some of them do.
They're over the top and annoying Cockney accents this time. I was not a fan of the voice acting in the original.
Really?
I don't know if they've changed it at all. I did not like them at all. So. And normally I love British accents because I think it makes the game seem more sophisticated. And I totally am on board with that. But just something about the original Xenoblade voices I just did not like. I took some flack on TFN because of it, because people were like, "Can't believe you don't like British voice acting." I was like, "No, it's not that. It's not that. It's just that game. I can't even pinpoint what it is. It just annoyed the hell out of me." And it may have been just because they, shout stuff in every single battle. And I mean, how many times do you hear "It's Rhine time"? Like, it's insane. And it just annoyed the crap out of me. And no, I can't. I couldn't do it. Just another reason I can't play that game again.
I did notice that already. I've only fought a few things in the very first area of the game, and they shout the same phrases over and over and over again.
Does not stop.
I do know, though, that there is an option to turn that off in this game, so I may do that if it gets annoying enough. So far, it's not bothering me. So, but I do enjoy the music. The music is really good. They've redone the music in this game, and I've switched between the two. I don't know which one I prefer, honestly. Like the new remastered music sounds fuller. It's more orchestrated, I guess. Yeah. And it's good. So I do enjoy this game. I'm going to stick it through. And yeah, I believe that's all I've been playing. Long. What about you?
It's long, man.
So was 2. 2 took me probably 6 months to get through.
Oh wow. Okay.
I'm a as you know,
more
I like
than
to
one
play
at a time though. You play more than one game at a time. Like
yes,
you'll switch back and forth. Yeah. See, I don't do that. I just stick to one because I can't focus on that many things at once. I wish I could do that. I will lose interest in one of them if I start playing another one right away. So I always try to finish one before I move on.
I like games like that, specifically when they're handheld, because I can play for about an hour before I go to bed. It's almost like closing my day out with, a TV show or something.
Sure.
It's just that kind of way. So I like stretching my games out, especially if they're really good. And anything that comes out on the Switch or portable is ideal way to play for me. It's harder for me to, like, if I'm winding down, I don't want to be sitting on the couch playing PlayStation, or something like that. So it's harder for me to get through those games. What about you?
Yeah, I've actually been playing quite a bit. So I recently knocked another game off the list for the year, probably the longest one that's on there, and that is Dragon Quest VII.
Oh wow, you did get through that.
I did. It took me about 85 hours is what I clocked in on finally. I have to say the story's fine. It's like pretty just bare bones, big bad guys getting summoned, better stop them and save the world.
Yeah.
But the gameplay is really, really cool. It's very Chrono Trigger-esque. So basically, like, you start out the game on one island. I never knew this about this game. I always thought it was just a really long adventure and, you're just in this world and whatnot. Basically, you start on this island, and that's all you see of the entire world. And it's just your little town, then a castle, and then, like, a shrine, and, like, one or two other side little places. Throughout the game, you find these little shards that unlock... They're like puzzle pieces. And when you find all the pieces of the puzzle and put them in these pedestals, each time you complete one of those puzzles, and there's maybe like 20 plus of them, it unlocks a new country or continent or island or something from the past, years and years and years ago.
Yeah.
And so you travel there and you solve their problem and all that stuff. And when you beat that island or continent, whatever, it shows up on the world map in the future, and you can visit it then and see how things have progressed, the decisions you've made. Sometimes you have to go back and forth between the two, and so you're rebuilding the world island by island, continent by continent, country by country. And it's really, really cool. I loved the gameplay style. So much so that, like I said, 85 hours, normally by then I'm like, I am ready for this thing to be done. I honestly, like, it hit me like Mass Effect 2 did, where I would play for hours and not even think about it. It was just really, really cool. It wasn't as grindy as I was expecting from a Dragon Quest game. I really didn't have to do that much. I really, really enjoyed my time with it. I think 5 is still my favorite in the series just because the story's so good. But
Right.
this is probably second for me so far, having played 1 through 7 now. So next year I'll be playing 8, which I've played like halfway through. When it first came out, I mainly bought it because it came with a demo disc for, I think, Final Fantasy 12 at the time. And I would just really wanted that. And I was like, oh, I've got a Dragon Quest, okay, whatever. And I never played one before other than the first one for like 5 minutes.
Right.
And I was like, this game sucks. But now I played it and I really like it. And I really enjoyed 8, but I wasn't ready for the grind and I wasn't ready for the style. And now that I've played 1 through 7 and I understand the series a lot more, I'm so glad I did that. And I've got a video coming out on the channel on why I play games that way. I really, really am looking forward to getting into 8 as well, to kind of come at it with a new perspective, and understanding how the Dragon Quest series, works. So I'm really excited to do that at some point. Well, it'll be next year.
That is really cool. Now,
play.
Did you say which version of 7 you played through?
I played it on 3DS.
Okay.
If I had played on PlayStation, apparently there's a lot more that you have to do as far as like NPCs that you have to talk to. It's minor flavor text, but they like block it to where unless you talk to this guy, you can't progress. This one, they took a lot of that out, and they were like, you can talk to this guy if you want a little extra story in there and stuff like that, but you don't have to necessarily. You can still move on to the next thing. And I was super thankful for that, because from what I understand, PlayStation 1 average takes people like 100 plus hours. So throwing another 20 hours on there would have just been brutal. But I really enjoyed it.
I got about I don't know, six hours or more into 7. Yeah. And I really enjoyed what I played on the 3DS. But yeah, the whole world building that you're talking about was kind of the unique feature that the takeaway that I had from it. And I would like to get back to it.
Yeah.
I also appreciate that on the 3DS version, you can see the enemies on the field, so they're not random battles anymore.
Yep. Absolutely.
That helps a lot.
Yeah.
I'm taking full advantage of that in 11. So you don't have to fight everything you see. You can pick and choose your battles. So that makes things a lot better.
I can't wait to get to 11 in like
11's good,
24,
man.
Whenever I'll get to it.
I played it a little bit last night too. And that game is so good. The only reason I stopped, I progressed through this dungeon, got all the way to the end of the dungeon, leveled up my characters like 2 or 3 times, and then I died and had to reload a save and lost all of that progress. And I was like, I'm done. I don't want to play right now.
Well, and since I beat that game, I started up the next one on the list. And after this one, I'm going to start playing a few new games. So I'll be putting the list on hold for maybe a month or so. But right now I'm currently playing through Paper Mario: The Thousand-Year Door on Gamecube.
Oh, nice.
And enjoying the hell out of it. I really, really like it. I would have been kind of cool if we did the Earthbound thing, I definitely would have made some comparisons there, because the writing style and the story, like the quirks and the little jokes and stuff and the puns, very, very Earthbound-ish, like some of the quips in there. But I'm really, really liking it. I think there's 8 chapters and I'm on chapter 5. And I'm really, really enjoying it. I played it years ago and I think I got to maybe chapter like 3, and then just one of those things where I just kind of fell off and stopped playing it. But this time I'm going through it and it's been a good time. And then other than that, just for funsies, I decided to re-download. What's funny is, so the PS Plus games, I should say, for June are Battlefront 2, Star Wars Battlefront 2, and Call of Duty World War II. Yeah. And about a week before they announced that, I was like, you know what? I kind of feel like playing Battlefront 2 again. And so I just reinstalled it because I already owned it. I just reinstalled it, started playing it, and then they announced it, and I was like, oh crap, there's going to be a lot more people coming to play this. And so I've actually been just doing matches here and there just for fun, randomly on my PS4, and I've been having a lot of fun with it. My main gripe with that game, and this is so frustrating because there's so much potential there, is that they limit so much to being online only. Like one of the things I really liked about the original Battlefront games was being able to just make an offline match. And this is, just self-indulging and stuff. Make an offline map or an offline match where it's just me and 20 or however many bots on the other team, and just feeling like a complete badass and having fun in this big, huge map, exploring it and doing all this stuff in Star Wars and everything like that. In this one, you can't do that offline. The big Galactic Conquest, which is the one that I would really love to be able to play offline, is unfortunately online only, and you can't choose which map you want to play. You can't choose which side you want to be on. You're basically just in the rotation. You just sign up and say, all right, give me a match, and then you get stuck somewhere, which is really, it's still fun. I still have a good time with it, but you can't really explore that much because everything is just blowing up around you and it's chaos and whatnot. And it's, I'd love to be able to, I've been playing it, maybe an hour a day for the past 2 weeks. And I still have yet to get the Battle of Hoth for Galactic Conquest, which is my favorite map ever. And it's I'm having fun with the other ones, but it's I really want to play Hoth. Come on, man. So other than that,
Hoth was on the beta before that game came out.
It was one of the first maps. Yeah.
Yeah, that's the one I played the most of, and I think I kind of wore myself out on that map.
Yeah, and there's so many more now, and they made all the DLC free and everything's included, which is great. So it's a really good time. If you're a PlayStation Plus member, I recommend just checking it out, because it'll be in June. It'll be on there, and you can just download it for free. Other than that,
let me ask you. One of my biggest hangups with that game was it was always one-sided, especially on the Hoth map, because that's the one I remember most. You would, and I never felt like I was doing anything to help my team. If it was just too big, I guess. And if you were on, I think the defending team, at least on that Hoth map, you had it much harder than the attacking team, and you would almost always lose. At least whenever I played.
I can't speak to the Hoth map because obviously I haven't played it.
Yeah.
Not since it first came out. But from the other stuff that I have played, I can say honestly, the matches are very, very, for the most part, have been pretty close and pretty even. I've been really impressed with that. There was never a game that I can remember specifically where I was oh, we have no chance, we're done. We just got steamrolled. It was always you have certain objectives, and I would see one team get 3/4 of the way, and then they just get stopped. And then there would just be a standstill back and forth until finally somebody wins after a long time of just no movement at all. So it's pretty well balanced from what I can tell, at least in my experience. I don't know. I really, really just wish I could play it offline because I just want to have fun on my own and not have to. I want to pick my own maps. Come on, man. So I don't know. It is what it is. So yeah, but yeah, I would say check it out if you get the chance. Just pop it in and try playing for a little bit. Do a couple of maps or whatever. Because it's fun. I had a good time with it.
Cool.
And then the last game that I've been playing that I finally jumped into, I'm super late to the party, is Destiny 2. So I'm doing all the intro stuff, and that's pretty much. I don't know squat about the story in Destiny. I just really like the gunplay, and the gameplay Bungie does gameplay really well, so I'm really happy with how shooting feels and all that stuff. So I have fun with that. And that's just, again, when I get bored of all the other stuff that I'm doing, I just hop on and just maybe do a map or so, some patrols and whatnot, and do that. So
that's the great part
plays
of that
Destiny
game.
2. I could use some help because I'm a noob and I keep getting rocked on a lot of stuff.
How far into it are you?
Not far at all. I'm still doing the intro missions.
Okay.
So yeah.
I might be able to jump in with you. That's about where I am. I've already beaten the game, but I've started a new character, so Amy and I can play through it. And we're still in that first planet. So yeah, we might be able to jump in with you some night. And,
For sure. I'd be down.
It's fun, man. It's one of those games you can still jump in and play. The gunplay is so fun. It's so fun. Bungie nails good feeling shooting sounding game.
Absolutely.
You know, the loot stuff really doesn't do it for me. It kind of is Borderlandsy. It is nice to get new loot and upgrade your character, but at a certain point it just becomes tedium because you're just constantly upgrading things.
I play it just to like get the achievements and finish the levels and say that I've done it. Once I do that, I have no desire to like make my character better because I don't really see a reason to. So.
Yeah. Do you have all the DLC for that?
I think so.
Okay.
I'm not entirely sure.
That's another reason why I went back to it, because when I beat it when it first came out. So I haven't played any of the DLC for it. So I was hoping when Amy and I started playing through it that we would be able to get through that DLC, because apparently the DLC is pretty meaty. There's quite a bit of content there.
Oh,
so
cool.
I would like to get into that and check that stuff out. Hey, I was going to ask you, when you get to Dragon Quest IX, that's the DS game that's semi-online, I believe.
From what I understand, you make your own party of characters. Like you design all of them, choose their classes and all that stuff. If you want, you can play with other people, and like you can play with up to 4 people. And like I think whatever, like let's say you and I were gonna play, it would like our NPCs would fill the extra slots for the other 2 party members, but our 2 main characters would be there, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I was curious to know if they still had servers open and things on that game. That was something that I missed out on that I kind of would like to try out at some point.
I would assume so. I don't see why it wouldn't still work.
Well, it's what at least a 10-year-old DS game at this point, so I don't know.
Does it need servers though, or is it just a direct connect kind of thing?
I have no idea. That's something to look up, I think. I've always been curious about that because I heard that the online stuff is pretty cool and unique for the series.
Yeah.
That's it.
Fair enough. Well, I'll be getting to it in 2 years, so.
Maybe by then the servers will be closed if they aren't already.
Yeah. Adrian, what the hell's going on with retro gaming prices?
Oh, man. Well, let me tell you, it's the pandemic, man. The pandemic is causing game prices to rise. And that's a weird scenario for a few reasons. Like, it makes sense to me in one way, but it's just kind of weird. And let me explain kind of what's going on here. So games from basically GameCube, PS2, even PS1 and N64 era, even Xbox games, Xbox original, all of them since March have, or a lot of them have, gone up. Sometimes, in some cases, almost double what they were. Crazy. And it's crazy. So specifically, like if you look at GameValueNow.com, you could go there and check out. It's got a flow chart or a dot point chart showing the trending of prices over the past few years.
Yeah,
and it's really weird to see everything's kind of level from 2016 all the way up to February of 20, and then it just shoots straight up. It's almost like looking at the coronavirus charts, that they've been showing.
Right.
It's really weird. And it's almost doubled. Like I'm looking at Xbox right now. The Xbox stuff is almost doubled in value from what it was in February. And
it's so crazy.
It's weird, man. Like I understand what's happening. People are stuck at home and they want something to do, so they're thinking about the old games that they used to play and wanting to re-experience those again. And I'm pretty sure that's what's driving things up right now, especially when you consider collecting in general. Every 20 years is when the nostalgia bug usually hits and people start buying games from their childhood 20 years ago. So the people who grew up playing GameCube, PS2, Xbox games, they're starting to hit that 20-year mark. So those games are naturally going to go up, but they don't typically shoot up like they are right now. So yeah, it's really interesting to look at. My games have gone up, like my game collection. A lot of the stuff, I don't really buy a lot of new games anymore, but a lot of the stuff I've been collecting for the past 7 years or so, my collection has shot up in value significantly. Like
Yeah.
I have slightly considered selling it off at this point because it's going to go back down. It's not going to maintain this level. But and then I get to thinking about it. It's like, I never bought these to resell them. I bought them for my collection, for me to play. No, I'm not going to do that. Besides, what am I going to do with the money? Buy a truck.
You gotta figure, like, I think part of it also has to do with you don't have conventions going on right now, which that's where a lot of people get deals. You don't have mom and pop shops where people sometimes haggle and do that kind of thing. You don't have any brick and mortar stores, period. It's pretty much just all online sales, which some include shipping, and people are it's like, in my experience, online has always been more expensive anyways. And there's really no wiggle room in a lot of cases. And so
Right.
I think that could absolutely, that to me makes sense as to why we're seeing a rise there as well. It's just kind of crazy how much of a difference it has made. Because I knew nothing about it. Granted, I haven't really been like doing much shopping for retro games recently. It's pretty much just new stuff and working my way through what I already have. But
Right.
when you pointed that out to me, I was like, holy crap. Like, I had no idea. It was insane.
Yeah. I noticed it by chance. I like to get on. I have an app called Game Eye on my phone that helps me track my collection and track what the prices are. But I use it mainly for keeping up with what I have, so I don't rebuy something that I have.
Right.
And what I've noticed, I every time I go on there, I like to check, what's my collection worth today? And it just, every time I checked it, it was going up, and it's still going up. And I just found it interesting. So I would go and look at some of my most valuable consoles collections. Used to be my N64 and Super Nintendo were, and even my regular or NES was pretty valuable.
Right.
But now, no, my PS2 collection is worth far more at this point in time than anything else. And it's just those two shelves behind me, those two top shelves behind me. Those are the only PS2 games I have, and they're worth significantly more than any of the other consoles I have. So I just found that to be really, really interesting, especially considering. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say, I'm looking at the, like, just for example, I'm looking at the GameCube list that you sent me of how those are, and I wanted to see, like, what are the most rare games that are on there and stuff like that. Number 2, Fire Emblem Path of Radiance. I have it complete, and I got it for I think $15. And last I remembered, it was going for maybe $80. It's up to $240.
Isn't that insane? It's crazy. That game, I'm telling you, when I was thinking about purchasing it, it was nearing the $100 mark, but not quite there yet. And I still wanted to get it, but I wasn't quite sure I wanted to pull the trigger. Not for $200. No, I'm not. Definitely not getting it.
Phantasy Star Online Episode 1 and 2 Plus, $212.
You got 212? I got 112 on mine.
I'm showing 212 for complete.
Yeah. Are you looking on Game Value now?
The link you sent me, yeah. Yeah.
according to the site that you look at. But
Jeez.
even if you were to look at sold eBay listings, like here, I'm going to look at that Phantasy Star Online Plus. If you look at the sold listings, sorry.
Oh, you're good.
The sold listings, that's regular version. You're right, man. The last sold listing was $212.50. 155 before that.
Skies of Arcadia
Yeah.
Legends, 150.
Oh my gosh, that's insane. That's insane. Yeah, even the 1,000-Year Door, the game that you're playing through currently, is
120.
over $100. Yeah,
Wow.
it's crazy. Pokemon Gale of Darkness, I got $88 on that.
Joke.
The biggest one, the biggest shocker for me was Mario Sunshine. Mario Sunshine right now is sitting at $70, at least according to price charting.
Oh my god.
And that game has always been holding steady at between $30 and $40. So it's doubled in price, which is crazy.
That's so crazy. Wow.
You would think that people would be kind of holding on to their money in unknown situation like this. I mean, that's kind of what we've been doing. We've been putting a lot of money in savings because we just don't know. Like, I don't know if I'm going to lose my job. Right. You know, I don't know how things are going to play out. So I want to make sure that if something does happen, I will, you know, have a few months worth of savings to be able to get back on my feet. I'm not going to be spending hundreds of dollars on video games. It's just not how it goes for me.
Right.
And I would assume that other people would think that same way, not to mention all the millions of people who are unemployed right now. You know,
yeah.
you would think that instead of having a spike turn up, it would have a spike turn down. It just baffles me. It really does. I do know that this is a temporary thing. It's not going to hold true to these prices forever.
For sure. Yeah, absolutely.
A spike like that never really holds form for very long.
And to be honest, like it is cool to look at, and I like being like, oh my god, I bought that game for, you know, next to nothing, and it's worth so much more now. It's crazy, you know, it blows my mind. But then at the same time, I look at it and I'm like, I had no interest in selling that at all because it means too much to me, and it's part of my collection, and I just love it that much. So does
it make you want to go through and maybe look at some other games that you have that you possibly don't want? Maybe you can get rid of them now type of situation?
Maybe doubles, because I've got a handful of doubles, but they're all like really common, so I know there's not going to be much on there.
You might be surprised, man. Name one double
now,
if you could think of.
I
can probably tell you.
God, I honestly don't know. If you've got a second, I can get the box. It's right here in my room.
Yeah. While he's doing that, I also wanted to point out that the Xbox sales are kind of going crazy as well. And Xbox Original has been a console that has never really taken off in value. And it's also kind of doubled in price as well, which is crazy to think about. Look at it. NES games are... There's no spike in NES. There's no spike in Super Nintendo. There's a slight spike in Super Nintendo, not much though. And then the N64 has a kind of steady curve, no spikes. Game Boy games have a small spike. Game Boy Color is picking it up, kind of like the N64. It's got a gradual curve. Game Boy Advance though has another spike. So this is telling me, by analyzing this data, this is all people, you know, who grew up with these systems, because it stops right there at about the year 2000.
Yeah.
Is all the consoles that came out around that year. And it is the 20-year mark. It's just, you don't typically see a spike like that after 20 years. It's usually a gradual climb. Right. So I think these prices are going to hold for longer than usual, but they're not going to hold, especially with the economy. If it really tanks out, it's not going to hold this way forever. But if you have some old games that you want to get rid of, now's the time to do it. Absolutely.
All right. So just out of curiosity, is there a way to like just do a search somehow? Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So here's a double that I've got: A Boy and His Blob.
It's not going to raise very much.
No, I know. That's what I'm saying. It's like all my freaking, they're really, really common.
Well, do you have any doubles from
It's still $12.
that 20-year mark?
Oh my god, that price went all over the place.
Yeah.
Say that again. I'm sorry.
Do you have any doubles from last 20 years? Or from 20 years ago, GameCube, PS2?
How about Pilot Wings 64?
Maybe. N64 games have a gradual climb. They're not. It hasn't spiked like the other systems, but basically all the disc-based systems and Game Boy Advance.
Yeah, the only disc-based one that I have that a double of is Assassin's Creed Black Flag on PS4.
Oh, yeah.
That's not going to be anything. So no, I don't really have squat when it comes to doubles, and if I've got something downstairs, I definitely want to hang on to it. But it is cool to kind of just see that and know, like, oh my gosh, like I saw Suikoden 2 was up to like 250.
Oh my gosh, man, that's crazy for me. I got that game in a bundle not that long ago, 2 or 3 years ago, from a guy locally, and I bought the entire collection of Suikoden games for $140, and I really got a good deal on that. But man, now Suikoden 2 is worth a lot more than what I paid for all 6 games. Excuse me, all 6 games in the series.
Yeah.
So, what is your take on the future of this? What do you think is going to happen?
I mean, I'm probably a terrible person to ask because I didn't even see it coming, nor did I even know what was happening. I honestly, I think you're right. I think we're going to see it come back down again because there's no way that something like that can hold unless. No, there's really just no way. Like the only thing I could see happening is when, and I'm pretty sure it'll happen. The economy is going to tank. When it does, we're going to see people trying to make that extra money and stuff. They're going to start selling off what they have, and at these prices, that's going to look really appetizing, which is just going to. So I think. I don't know. It could be months, could be a year. I honestly don't know. But it's definitely going to go back down. There's no way a rise like that is going to stick around for very long. But
Right.
It is cool to see. So
I do think, though, if you're looking to get out or even considering it at all, do it. Like
now,
do it
yeah,
now
for sure.
Don't hold on to them.
Well, now this is the end of May in 2020. If you're watching this or listening to this in like 2040. Then probably not the
yeah,
same.
That's a good thing to clarify there. Another thing to kind of point out, as stores are opening back up, it might be a good idea to go check them out, like Game Exchange, for instance. Game Exchange seems to be pretty slow with updating prices. Now, I don't know how long they've been closed, but I assume in that time that they were closed, they probably are keeping track of these prices and remarking them. But I usually find decent deals at Game Exchange because of their slow to react to trending prices.
Right.
Also places like what is it called? Vintage Stock or Movie Trading Co. Those places are also relatively slow. I mean, I think they're faster than Game Exchange for updating that stuff, but you can still find pretty good deals there. I would recommend. Like, if you're considering getting something now and you want to get something and a local shop like that is open, go in there and try to hit it up and see what they have. I'm not a big fan of doing that for kind of mom and pop shops because, sadly, a lot of them are closing right now.
Yep.
I've noticed Freaks and Geeks in Denton, Texas is closing. That's one of my favorite shops to go to when I go to Dallas. And they're closing up their shop, and that's really, really sad and unfortunate. They are trying to take care of their debt. They posted on Facebook. They're trying to take care of their debt, and they're going to do online sales. They're still going to go to conventions and things, and they're trying to restructure to be able to open up a physical location again in the future. But plan is now they're closing, and that's sad to see. There's a one store that I like to go to here in Oklahoma City. Actually, there's 2. And I really enjoy going to those places, and I'm hoping that they can weather out the storm and keep their doors open. Also, there's one in Tulsa I like to visit. But as soon as I can get out and go visit them, I will, and see if I can find anything for my collection that I need. Probably something from 2,000 back, I'm not going to be looking at spending the current market value on games that are skyrocketing right now.
Yeah. I'll be honest. I miss, I like when I, I'm obviously working from home and stuff, but when I go out to get groceries or something like that, or I go over to my mom's house, because I still have some mail sent over to her place. I will, on my way home, my first reaction, and I always have to remind myself that I can't, is to be like, oh, maybe I'll go hit up Vintage Stock or something like that on the way back. And it's my immediate reaction, like I want to just go look and browse, not necessarily even buy anything, but because I always used to do that. I would do, like when I worked at the office, I would go on my lunch breaks to the mall or to a nearby game store or something like that and just browse for an hour, and look around. And I can't do that right now. So yeah, same. I guarantee you, once everything does open up, I'll be right back at it. So
I miss it, man. I miss my
definitely
weekly, trips to Goodwill. I would also go to those shops as well.
Yeah.
And I would rarely find anything, but it's those kind of things that I miss the most about being able to get out. I did go garage sailing for the first time Saturday, and I went to a sale specifically. They had advertised Xbox 360 and PS3 games, and they showed a picture with all the games that they had. And this house was way out in the middle of nowhere. I mean, like, it was a 30-minute drive from my house. And I was like, you know what? I haven't been anywhere. I'm going to go check it out. There was a few neighborhood sales along the way.
Yeah.
I went ahead and went all the way out there, and they had already sold every last one of those games. And I was upset, especially because they had NCAA football 13 and the NCAA games. I don't remember what year was the last year, but those games are starting to go up as well because they don't make NCAA football games anymore.
Right.
And I want to say 14 was the last year that they did it, but 13, if I was going to go to the garage sale and pick it up for $1 or whatever and flip it it's going for $30 to $40 right now. So it's a good flip. But on top of that, they had some other PS3 and Xbox 360 games that I would like to add to my collection. And somebody already beat me to it. And it's kind of crazy. It's like, even way out in the middle of nowhere, people they're wanting to go out and get this stuff like I am. So
can I just say something really quick? This is something that's bugged me for a long time. Like, okay, so total side tangent right here. But I 100% admit that when I was a kid, if I got like a Super Nintendo game or a Nintendo game, those cardboard boxes, I would rip the hell out of them and toss it and be done with it. And I'd just have the cartridge, maybe a little plastic case, stuff like that. PlayStation, Sega Genesis, anything with like a hard case, who gets rid of that stuff? Like, why do you just have a bunch of loose discs sitting around? Like, that boggles my mind. Like, how would you know? Why wouldn't you think like maybe this isn't such a good idea as far as taking care of it? Like, it just blows my mind.
Mine too. Like, I never threw away those jewel discs or cases. I mean, I never did. Even the big ones on the PS1. I never threw those away. Mine were all cracked. Any of the ones I had from my childhood are all beat to hell. But still, I tried. I did the best I could. But I do remember when a lot of my friends, when I would go to their houses to play games, they had a disc book, and they had all their discs in there.
Case thing.
Yeah, and so they would just take the game. Some of them would hold on to the manuals and just stick it into the page behind it, and then throw the case away. And I could see that. I mean, that makes sense for keeping things compact and all in one spot. I get that. And if you don't really care about collecting or care about value, you never would have thought of something like that. I could totally back then see myself doing something like that. Like it wasn't important to me then, like it is now. Yeah. So I see where you're coming from, but even okay. Here's a bigger one for you. A bigger thing that really pisses me off. How GameStop will take DS and 3DS games and throw away the cases and manuals and just sell the cart. So
yeah,
my recommendation on that, and I've been building my 3DS and DS collection over the years, and I've been trying to get games that I feel like are going to trend upwards. Get those complete in box. Do not get the card only. Those, if you have those complete in box in the next 10 years, those are going to be worth a lot of money, especially if you're in it for reselling. I wouldn't recommend getting into game collecting to resell. It's just too finicky of a market.
Right.
But I mean, it's just one of those things, like if you see it and you want to hold on to it, whatever. Or if you just want it for your collection, you think you might want it for your collection later on, get it now. Don't wait. Yeah, because like, for instance, the Dragon Quest games on the DS, all of those games are worth right around the $100 mark. And that's, some are higher than others, but yeah, each of them 4, 5, and 6 specifically.
Wow.
9 is still kind of low, but 4, 5, and 6 are in the $100 range. And those games are, 5 has always been the most valuable of them. Or no, was it 6? I think it's 6. 6 has been the most valuable game of the trilogy there on the DS. But even with that, it used to hover around the $40 mark. The other games would be around $20.
Yep.
So those are all
I think
shooting
it's about
up.
what I paid.
Yeah. Well, and also like RPGs in general, if you can find them.
Yeah.
I always try to make sure that I get my games complete in box on those systems, because GameStop throws away all those cases and manuals, and it makes it really hard to find anything that's not cartridge only. So if I see something, a game that I want, I get it. That pisses me off more though, because I can understand a person like, this is my stuff, I'm not going to get rid of it, whatever, I don't care. Sure. But GameStop, come on, man, that's just that's
they
wrong.
should know better. Yeah, it is what it is. People are dicks.
It is what it is for sure. I also wanted to bring up one last kind of point. Whenever you do start going out, let's do what we can to support these shops. I don't want to see anybody else close.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah,
it really makes me sad to see.
Go in and just buy a lot
closing
of like cheap games or something like that. Maybe one, decently priced one.
Yeah, I mean, and a lot of these shops are also selling games online, to help keep their doors open. Support them in any way you can.
Anytime you go to one of those mom and pop shops, ask if they have like a business card or something where you can go to see their website. That way you can track their stock as well in most cases. And because they'll typically sell them for the same price in stores online. Sometimes you have to pay shipping, but even then it's usually not going to be that much. But yeah, you're 100% right. It's really good to support those places.
Yeah, it's these smaller shops that are not going to survive. They're the ones that rely on those monthly income. They're not the big corporations. So
same at conventions too. If you go to a booth, even if you don't buy anything, ask for a business card. See if they've got a website that you can browse.
Yeah, absolutely.
So
yeah. I think I've exhausted everything I wanted to say about that subject. I just think it's a really cool topic. Like in my 7 years of collecting, I've never seen this happen before. And it's just
not to this extent.
No, not even like, I'll see spikes in certain games, based upon like a YouTube video or something. Maybe Metal Jesus Rocks did a video on hidden gems on the PS2, and he'll mention a few games.
Or those AVGN comes out with a new video game.
Exactly.
New game.
It always happens. Like those games will spike and they'll raise in value, 50% or whatever, but they always go right back down immediately. Like after a month or two, when it's died down, it goes back down. I've never seen it to this extent. Not with so many games. Like it's not just random games, and they are the good ones. I mean, you're not going to see a spike in games that people don't care about. It's going to be first party Nintendo. It's going to be first party PlayStation, exclusive console exclusive games that were popular then. Those are the ones they're raising in value right now. Also the rare games, like all the trilogy of horror games on the PS2, Kuon, Rule of Rose, and Haunting Ground. Those games are ridiculously expensive right now. Rule of Rose and Kuon are above $400 a piece.
Good night.
What's the other one? Haunting Ground is above $200. It's crazy, man. They're just insane prices right now. Luckily, I have was able to acquire those before they shot up, because those are all games that
I'll pick them up when it crashes again.
There you go. One other thing, Wii games are shooting up right now too.
I have noticed that. Yes. Yeah.
A lot of people in Wii consoles. If you have a stack of Wii consoles sitting in your cabinet in your living room next to your fireplace, you should get rid of those now while instead of sitting on them. I'm referencing myself. I've got like 5 Wiis sitting, complete Wiis sitting in a cabinet. Dude, every time when I used to be really heavy into garage sailing, people would just dump their Wiis and all of their games for like $10, $20. So I would buy the lot for a few games that I wanted, and then have another console and a bunch of controllers to go with it. So
that's crazy.
I've got a stack of those things. I really do need to get on and start selling them online. But also, just like the first party games, especially Animal Crossing, City Folk. That game has gone up significantly, obviously because of the Animal Crossing Switch game.
How you keep track of and remember all this stuff in your head, like it just blows my mind.
It's just
it's a gift.
I don't know. It's just one of those things that it's my little niche that
I'm not knocking you for it. I'm happy because all I have to do is text you and be like, "Hey, how much is this going for right now?" And you're on it. So I don't even need to go to the websites.
Well, it sucks because I got rid of Animal Crossing like last year. I had it on the Wii, and I'd never played it. I never was going to play it, so I sold it or I traded it in at a shop. And I think I got like $5 for it. It's like, if I would have just held on to it, I would have got about $40 for it. I think they're going for about 40 right now. Yeah, it's crazy. Man.
It's crazy. Crazy.
Crazy times games. We are in on many levels.
Yes. We don't need to get into that though.
We won't.
So, I mean, that's pretty much all I got. I agree. I thought it was a really, really cool subject and was super stoked when you brought that up. I was like, holy, because I had no idea. That's pretty much all I have to say about it. You got anything else?
Well, I'm glad that you were willing to talk to me about it. It's just one of those things, like, I just kind of blah to Amy, and she's like, yeah, You could tell she's halfway listening, doesn't really care. So I like to be able to spout this stuff off to somebody who
she still entertains you though. She never I don't think she ever makes you feel bad about liking that stuff or like makes you feel like, I got nobody to talk to. Like she's really good at like even feigning enthusiasm. Like she is.
Yeah, she definitely is. But I could tell. I've been with her long enough that I can tell whenever she's faking it and not. And so, but she does. Enough. She does do a really good job of making me or listening to my stuff. So.
All right.
Yeah.
You got anything else then?
No, I don't, man. That was fun. I'm excited to talk about Earthbound, though. I just finished it last week.
That's the first time you finished it, right?
Talk about it. Yeah. Yep. My first playthrough, and awesome. I absolutely adore that game. I can't wait to talk about it.
Yeah, me too. I'm super excited. And I know Cameron is like not only a big Earthbound fan, but he's a really big he's a lot like me when it comes to Super Nintendo RPGs. That's his bread and butter, just like mine. Well, excluding arcade machines, because the dude has so many arcade machines in his basement. It's crazy. He collects those, and he goes out and finds these things from sellers that I don't even know exist in our area, and it's pretty damn impressive. I still haven't gotten a chance. I'd love to do a video at his place at some point and just kind of talk about his arcade and stuff, and I'm sure he'd be down for that. If not, then I apologize, Cameron. I'm not trying to put you on the spot, but I think it would be fun if we did that. But either way, we'll have him on the show next month, and we'll get going talking about Earthbound, because I think all three of us are really excited to do that. So
it would be really cool. He did show me some pictures of his arcade room. It's very impressive.
He's asked me to come over several times. Something always just comes up, or it's like just too late in the day or something like that. And I just need to one of these days suck it up and be like, you know what, screw it. I'm just going to go out there and go over there and do it, because I really do want to check it out. Cool. All right. Well, with that, this is the Pixeled Perspective signing off. You want to plug your Twitter?
I am at Bertazoid on Twitter, also on Instagram, and I also want to bring up, the Final Fantasy VII illustration that I did, or that I talked about. That is done now, and I've been working on a video for that to post up on my YouTube channel. And I don't know if it's really catered to the gaming audience. It's more like walking through my how I do it,
Sure.
more for people who want to learn how to do digital art or vector art or things like that. But if you want to check that out, I am finishing that up and hope to be posting that up this week. So yeah, you can find my YouTube channel at Birdazoid as well. So Birdazoid everywhere.
I didn't know you made a YouTube channel. That's awesome. Heck yeah.
Actually, it's an old YouTube channel. I made it, 12, 13 years ago. And I haven't put anything on it in so long. So it's just, I'm ready to.
I will be sure to sub with both of my accounts. I have one for Game Room Revival, and then I have one that I use just for that I've had forever. But I the name is terrible, and I didn't want to use it for the actual channel. So that's the reason I have two. But I will subscribe with both. It's not cheating. It's just
No, that's awesome. I have to go through and clean it up, man. There's a lot of gameplay videos and stuff that I posted from PS4 days and stuff that I don't care about. I just threw up there. I got to go take all that stuff down. There is one thing on there that's really kind of cool though. There is my brother and my dad were on the Maury Povich show back in 2003. And
what?
My dad, my dad was in a car accident. He ran off the side of the road out in the middle of the country because we grew up in the country.
Yeah.
And he was lost, and my brother couldn't find him. So my brother went out looking for him and found him, just happened to see tire tracks on the side of the road that led off into the ditch. So he pulled over and looked down in the ditch, and the car was sitting on top of my dad.
Oh my gosh.
He was ejected and the car was sitting on top of him. So they went and called the ambulance to come get him, and then my brother was able to help lift the car off of him. And my dad he's been kind of halfway paralyzed ever since. But
this is a fantastic way to end the episode, by the way.
It's a weird thing to bring up, but it's just
that's crazy. Yeah. I had no idea.
Well, now you can go check it out too.
I absolutely will, because that sounds super interesting. And as for me, I've plugged it every episode. Game Room Revival is the YouTube channel, and that's, if you're watching the video, that's where you're watching it. Otherwise, Adrian has the audio version on all the audio places that you can get audio podcasts from, and so we're all over the place. And right. I am at JJ Santinello. Link in the description as usual. But that's all I got. Adrian, you want to sign us out?
Yeah. Thanks for listening, guys, and keep on gaming.
Nailed it.